Hi, hello again. My name is Pawan Oberoi. This is our first ever advanced features webinar on whiteboard.chat. I'm hoping that most of you have used this and are familiar with the platform. So I'm going to not show you all of the basic features. I'm going to focus primarily on the stuff that we do not cover in the basics webinar. You are welcome to go to our YouTube channel and look at the basics webinar too if this is the first time you're here on whiteboard.chat. So the agenda is that we're going to show you the advanced features. We'll again invite you to experience live with us, whiteboard.chat. Hopefully we can do some group activities this time as you experience it live, which will be different from what we do in our basics. Right. And of course, we do question and answers all throughout. So please type them out on Zoom and Sid, my colleague, will read them out occasionally. We want to make this super interactive, but there are a lot of people. So we want to make sure that we respect everybody's time. You're all familiar with this, how this platform aids in observability and engagement by letting you see how the students are progressing through their assignments and how you can assist them on a one-on-one basis or in groups, right? Thanks to all the teachers around the world, this platform is growing like crazy. We are a really small company and we really appreciate all the help that we are getting from teachers on social media, on word of mouth, on doing PDs in their schools and their districts. So thank you so much. Thanks a lot for helping us out. So here are some of Tracy, who's one of our pioneer teachers, created these wonderful group boards. So she's really into it. She has worked with us for ever since we started, I think almost when the boards were barely functional. So I think there are some of the examples that she has recently created where kids can do games, bump games, and stuff like that with the spinners as well as with the upcoming dice, right? And then again, this platform is completely based on suggestions and feedback that we receive from teachers. So thank you for that. Please keep sending us feedback. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, and join our teachers using whiteboard.chat Facebook group if you are on Facebook. So that said, let me just jump into the platform. It's a browser-based platform, as most of you know. You get into whiteboard.chat, you click start drawing. We are focusing again on the teaching mode, not on the collaboration. You can do group activities on the teaching mode, which is preferable due to several reasons, such as the teachers having more control as to who can write what, who can delete what, and so forth. So I think that's the primary use case for education, I think. So this is whiteboard.chat. All you teachers must be familiar with it already. Here on the left, we have our basic toolbar, and I'm going to start focusing on the new features. So what I'll do is I'll quickly create a workbook. So I'm going to upload a file. You can upload from Google Drive too if you are one of the first 100 teachers who got in, but we are waiting on approval from Google to enable this for everybody. But for the time being, just stick to your local drive. So I'll upload my favorite worksheet, which has 3 pages, right? So it'll load it up. This is page number 1, right? Page number 2 and page number 3, right? So one of the first features that we want to show you is the sidebar. So you can actually now open the sidebar and you can rearrange your pages if you want to, right? So you can slide them up and down. You can change the page numbers. So you see 1, 3, 2, it changed to that. If you have students, it will automatically change their pages to this order as well. If you want to insert pages, just right click this. You can insert a page into any location as well, right? This and then another cool thing is that you can actually hide pages. So what you can do is that if you want to put an answer key, for example, and then you can hide that page, right? And then when the students go past, they will not see that page. So if I were to invite a student, Let me invite a student in the same time. This feature is fairly new and I think it has a little bugginess to it. So I recommend that if you're using this, make a copy of your board and then use it. Don't use it just off the bat. I'm going to invite Sid as well so he can participate too. Right. So yeah, so the student is on the right hand side, the teacher is on the left hand side as usual. You can see that so if the student goes from page number 1 to 2, even though they went to page number 2, it actually takes them to my previous page, which was page number 3, right? So which is what we expect to happen. So don't pay attention to this. We just rearrange the pages according to what you have set in the sidebar, and it remains like that. Right? That's one of the first new features. Then we can go up a little bit here on the left hand side. You can see some of the other new things in the tools. We have now you can fill in shapes. So if you draw a shape, right, you can just right click it or use the select tool and say fill color. And in the fill color, you can specify whether you what's the inside color. And also if you change this, you can change the stroke color as well, right? So to something else, and it'll change it on the shape that you have drawn. So you can draw shapes out of here and fill colors out of here just by using the tools here. We have multicolored post-it notes now. So instead of just the yellow one, we have other colors that teachers requested, so you can use them as well in addition to the ones that we already had. Right, the rich text editor is the same, the infinite cloner is the same, the link. In the link, we added a new feature. So if you use the link now, so if I say add link, let me just close this so it's easier to see. So you say add link and then place the link here. Now you can say that I want to go to a different page number in the book too. So if you want to make a table of content, or if you want to have an easy way for the kids to navigate between pages, you can say, I want to just go to page number 1, and it'll create a link to page number 1. So whenever the kids click that link, it'll directly take them to that page. So you can create a table of content if you want to on the first page itself, so students can go through those fairly quickly. Right. On the math point,
Excuse me, Pawan. I'm sorry, I have a quick question. I apologize.
Can you type that on the chat, please? Because
yep. Sorry about that, Pawan.
all right, thank you. All right, so the other new features I'll show you here really quickly. There's a snake pointer which you can use to highlight certain sections of the screen if you want to catch attention of the kids. Right, it disappears automatically after 5 seconds. Right, there is also a spotlight pointer instead. If you don't want to catch too much attention, you can use that. If you use them next to each other, you'll see what happened just now. But there is also 2 new student signals we have put on here. So I will go to page number 4. Let's do it on a new page. Right. Sorry. All right, and then we can say the student signals are 2. You can actually do a spotlight. So what you can do is that you can put the spotlight here. If you want to move this around, you use the move and resize tool. You click on the black portion and then you can move it anywhere on the screen that you want to. Right, and the students can just signal to you anytime saying, hey, I cannot understand what is going on in the class, or I can understand what is going on in the class, or I'm almost there, right? So you can signal using the spotlight if you want to. And there is also another way that some other teachers requested, where you can specify with thumb signals. So you can just place similarly the thumb signal here, and they can do like a thumb sideways, they can do a thumbs up or a thumbs down, right? And the student, again, you can see all of that in the grid view too. So you can see how they are progressing. The student is progressing through their lesson. Right? So these are the signals portion. There are calculators. There are two calculators that are new. There's a graphing calculator. This is the GeoGebra calculator that is built in. Each person has to put this on their board themselves. So they can just put the thing here. You can run whatever calculations you want, right? Or you can do plots. I don't even know how to use this. So I'm sure teachers know it better than I do, right? I can close it. But the GeoGebra calculator you cannot see as a teacher in the grid view, but the other calculator, the basic calculator is a inbuilt calculator. So if somebody is doing a calculation, right, for example, 58 times 8 here, right, you can see what the kids are doing in the grid view. So it's a native calculator. You can see the answers. They can see how they are progressing with their lesson with the calculators. So I'll stop here for a second and see if there are questions. Sid?
Yes, Paul. Can students add text over the filled-in shape?
Not right now. You can type on it, of course, right? Yeah, you can type on the filled-in shades if you want to, but it'll just be like a regular text box, just like what we have today, right? So if we also have a text box, which I will show you in a second, but you can do that.
Okay. Is the page option on every slide for students to go back as well?
So the students don't have the page view right now. Other teachers have asked us to add the sidebar to the student view as well. We will look into it. We don't have that for the students right now, but we can easily add it if we want to.
Okay. How do students make their text bigger and when they type their answer?
Oh, so that's the stuff we cover in the basic section, but there's a text slider here. So if you set the text slider, you can make the text size bigger and it'll type on the thing wherever you need to.
Okay. Can students remove the spotlight and thumbs up and down?
Can students remove from their side? They still have it. I'll show you how you can customize the menus in a second so that you will see how you can customize what the students see.
Okay. And can you quickly show how did the thumbs up and down again, please?
Yes. So so you go to the tools section, you go to student signal, you put the thumb signals here, right? If you want to move it around, you use the move and resize tool, right? And you have to click on the edge of this thing, right? The edge of the sorry, let me lock this first. So if you lock an object, you prevent from the teacher accidentally moving it, right? So that's what I did. Oops, this refuses to move. Okay, anyway, so yeah, there's a bug in the move case, but essentially you put it there and then you can click it and then you can do thumbs up, thumbs down on the object as it is.
And
oh, there you go. Okay.
All right, cool. Can you turn off student access to calculators?
Yes, I will show you how you can customize the tools. We have the way to customize the tools for the kids. I will show you that right now.
Okay. How do you force pages and freeze pages to keep students on the page you want?
So again, this is covered in our basics webinars, but you can actually go to the avatar menu and you can set up follow teacher mode, right? In the follow teacher mode, you can just go. So whatever page the teacher is on, the student will be forced to be on the same page as the teacher.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we can keep going now.
So there is another thing that I forgot to show you. There's a way for teachers to place, let me just clear this board so it's more clear. You can place pre-built text boxes. So primarily for kids, because you don't want them adjusting font sizes and stuff like that. So if you set the font size to, let's say 6 or 7, which is a good font size to see from a grid view, you can create a text box if you want the kids to type answers in a certain fashion, right? And these text boxes is good for younger kids because they don't have to click anywhere. They know exactly where to type and the font size is already set, right? And then it'll, it'll automatically align it as well, right? So if you want to place text boxes for younger kids, you can actually see that in the grid view, and you can set the font size, you can set the size of the box that you want them to type, and they don't have to adjust anything, and it makes it super easy for younger kids to use the text boxes. Right? So this is a new feature too, and so I'll clear this screen. So the next thing, maybe what we can show you is some of the timer features, right? So in the timers are here in this. So there are 3 types of timers. One is an instant start timer, which says start the timer for 5 minutes for everybody, right? Then you get a timer which gets started for 5 minutes for everybody. There are new timers which says, one is you can set it to expire at a certain time. So if you want to give an activity to the kids saying, hey, I want you to be done by 9 p.m. tomorrow, you can set it such that it'll expire on its own at that time. You can also auto lock the boards automatically. So there's a third type of timer which says that only after a student joins, the timer starts, right? You can say, and then once they are done with that activity, it'll automatically lock it. So if you want to give kids this kid is already there, right? But if you want to, like, for example, if I have another kid in another browser join, right, you can see that their timer will start for 5 minutes. And once the timer expires, the board locks itself. Even if they close the browser and goes away, the timer keeps running, right? So then they don't have, so you can see that it's running, and then they don't have the ability to, oops, not this window, incognito. Right, so you can see this is another student who just joined this board for the first time, and when they join, they are given 5 minutes to complete this activity, right? And once the 5 minutes finish, the board will lock on its own, and then the kids will not have access to write on it, and you can put the correction keys or whatever else you want to, right? And you can of course reset the timers here as well. Now once they finish, you can reset it right here as well, and you can close this timer too. So those are the new timer features. Let me see here. In the manage book, we have a bunch of new features as well. So we have the ability to clear all the students and all of the pages. So if you have a bunch of students or and you want to reuse that link again, you can pick one of these 2 options. You can clear, for example, the student pages only, right? So it will clear all the student boards and all of their work. The teacher's work stays as is, right? You can clear the students as well as you can clear the students as well as the pages. So everybody goes away. It's almost as if nobody ever joined the page, right? There is also a new time machine feature which allows me to check. So if I were to go to, let's say, Sid's board, right? I can play back his board in time. I don't know which page. Did you do anything on any page, Sid?
Yeah, I think try page 3. I think I did some stuff there.
Not really. Okay, maybe not. All right. So, but
or maybe the board was cleared.
Oh yeah, that's true. I cleared the pages. Okay, so yeah, so if let's say this student, which is this student, they're doing some activity on page number 2, right? And you want to see how they progress through time, right? How did they work through the activity, right? You can, you can join their board, right? And you can turn on the time machine feature, right? And it'll show you since the beginning of time as the board was created, how did they progress through the board, right? What objects did they place once, which problem did they solve first, and which problem did they solve next, right? And how did they progress through the object. So you can do it back and forth and see where were they struggling and how were they doing. So this is useful. All of this gets auto recorded, and even the older boards, you can see it if you already have them in your class, right? So that's the time machine. So I think now maybe we can play a group game. So let's go to page number 1. Let me pause for a second and see if there are questions.
Yes, Pawan. What is the purpose of the start and the end time of the video link box?
Oh, okay. I should clarify that too. All right. So in the YouTube videos, we added this new feature too. So when you add a YouTube video, right? So you can say like, if I go to YouTube, right? I can pick a YouTube video, right? I can say I want the kids only to start at time 20 seconds and watch it for 30 seconds. All right. So I say start is 20 and end is 50, right? And enter the URL, right? And that's it. So when the kids play the video, it'll start automatically at time 20 and it will go up to time 50. So you can specify you want to only let them watch that portion of the video, not the whole thing, right? That helps when you're doing certain things.
I have a question real quick that you not even close to addressing. When I have several classes, and I want to take a whiteboard that I created and use the same whiteboard with the material that I downloaded across all 3 classes, but I don't want to carry the students with me from the first period to the 3rd period to the 5th period. That's my question. How do I do that?
Right. So what you can do is that there are several ways. One is the simplest way, which most teachers do, is that you can just save a copy, right? So you can go here and say save copy. Right? You can say this is my section 1, right? Math 101, right? And it will save a copy with that name. And that will have no students. It will just be a clean board with a copy of what you are doing. That's what most teachers do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So, Pawan, there's questions about importing, exporting boards. So if you could go over that, and related question is how would they export a board to US West?
Okay, so yeah, so that's a good question. So you click the manage board. So our boards do expire. They expire in 2 weeks, right? So what you can do is that if you want to save your work forever, you can export it. So just click this export board button, right? And it'll export the board in a proprietary format that whiteboard.chat understands. It's a JSON format. So you see it is being saved here, right? And if I want to go to US West, which is another of our locations where our website is, you can just go to US West, right? This is US West, and I can import the same board. So it's better if I log in here first. Right, so I can log it here with Google. And then I can say import the board and then just give the name, just find the file that I just downloaded, which is the name unsaved S2, and it'll get imported into my board here. So I can, now if I go to here, you can see the unsaved S2 is imported here, and I can use it on the US West 2 site, or I can import it at any given time, right? In the future, if 2 years into the future, I want to start using it, I can import that back or save my work for a year. I use it for the next year. You can export all your boards and import all your boards from here.
Okay. Another YouTube question, Pawan. Does when YouTube links are added, do we automatically eliminate ads from there?
Yes. So if there are ads on the YouTube, it goes away completely. So there are no ads shown on the YouTube videos which are embedded.
Cool. The question about grid view, if I go to the grid view and students are in the follow teacher mode, are they following me?
So if you are on the grid view, everybody is on the same page as you, right? So yes, they are following the teacher at that point.
Okay. How can I remove just one student?
So if you were to remove a student from so for example, you can click this open class boards. And if you want to remove a student and their board, you can just click this trash icon, right? And that will take away their board, as well as they will be logged out of the system as well, right? So they'll be thrown out of the system as well.
Okay. Can students add their own grid and paper?
Yes, they can add their own grid and paper as well, which I will show you. So you can, the students by default have access to all of the tools that the teacher has, almost all of the tools. They don't have access to video calling and chat and things of that nature, but they have access to most of the tools. But you can add like a college line sheet, right? You can do background colors as well now in whiteboard.chat. So you can actually click this, you can say, I want a background color. And there's some pastel colors that we have picked. You can pick that and it will become something that the students can write on. And the students can do the same. They can, if the teacher hasn't picked a background color or a grid, they can actually put it on their own as well. So they can pick a different color from, each student can have a different color for the background and they can do their work too.
Yeah, is there a way to crop images?
It will be tonight. There will be tonight.
Okay, awesome. When I export a board, it does not save.
Maybe let me just show you the crop images anyway, because then you'll see it tonight. So you can upload like a file, let's say from your computer. This, I'm running this in my local development instance. This is not live yet. So it will be live soon. So if I have a file. All right, so if I have a file here, I can just, you can do several things with it. You can do tools, use the select tool. This is a new tool, right? So you can select a certain area. You can say copy it, right? You can, then it will make a copy. You can keep copying, pasting it. You can keep making multiple copies of it, right? You can use the select tool to crop images as well. So if I just want this part of the thing, you can just say crop, right? And we'll just put that, leave that area of the screen. Like, and you can copy paste across pages as well. So whatever you copy, you can paste it to a different page as well. Sorry, Sid, any more questions?
Yeah, one very interesting question. Can we sign our classes up for training? Will there be a student training uploaded to YouTube?
I think several teachers have asked us. I think Nan asked us that recently too, right? So yeah, we will have, my daughters have created videos on how to students use whiteboard.chat. We will do student training as well in the near future. So if you have any ideas where you want us to help, please reach out and we can work with you.
Okay. Can I add a grid background to a text box?
Not right now. So you cannot do that today. There's asks to limit the amount of. So what you can do is this, like for example, if you have a grid, right? You're doing math on the grid, right? What you can do is you can create a text box on top of it, right? So that will create a text box on top of the grid, but not the other way around.
Cool.
And you can put images on top of it as well if you want to.
Right. Can the math editor be placed on the main toolbar instead of inside the tools for easier access?
Yeah, right now we don't have a way to move this around, but we can consider it. Let me show you that then.
Yeah.
So you can, as a teacher, you can customize the toolbar that the children see. So by clicking this avatar menu, right, you can, sorry, not the avatar menu, clicking the gear menu, right, you can say customize menu options for students, right? And then in the menu options, you select the objects that you want to disable from the student's toolbar. So this is the student's toolbar on the right hand side, right? So I want to, let's say, take out refresh, manage boards, right? The grids, home, clear, right? Download, right? You can take out the calculators, for example. You can take out the compass, right? And
Hold on,
then
can you show that again? I'm sorry, I missed the first part. I apologize. I don't mean to interrupt. Can you
I
say
missed it too. I was just going to ask the same thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I wanted to type it in. Would you show that one more time? I apologize. That's a great feature.
yes, I will.
I
If you
apologize.
type it in, I promise I'll get to you too. So, okay, so you click this thing, the gear menu, right? You say customize menu option for students, right? And it'll bring up this list of all the menu items here and plus some on the top. And you can pick the ones that you want to disable. So by default, everything is enabled. So if you want to disable the calculator, you want to disable the add media, let's say pause animations, right? The lasso, even the palette. If you want to disable the palette from the kids, you can select all of them and save it. Right now, they don't have access to the palette, so they cannot put any stickers. They cannot do the calculator stuff, right? So even if they go into the tools, they don't have access to the calculator. So we can extend this to move tools around because everybody has their favorites, right? So I think some people want like the pointer tool to be outside. Some people want the math editor to be outside. So we can make it configurable so you as a user can pick what changes you want.
One interesting question: would we have to customize the menu options every time we make a new board?
Yeah. Right now it's not saved, but we can make it so that it saves. So whatever you do in your gear menu are your preferences. It should be saved in your profile. I think this menu options is not saved, but we'll save it. I think that's a issue. But you can change the font. For example, if you change the font and save it here, it will save it forever. Same with the pen color, right? Another thing we recently added is this feature announcement. So we used to send every week email. We'll send out one last email reminding people to sign up for announcements here. So if you want to hear from us via email, all the new features we release that week, you'll have to come here and sign up. Right. Okay. So let me go to a group board really quickly because I think there were a bunch of questions on the group board and I don't want to miss out on describing the group activities. Again, Sid, I'll send you an invite. I don't know what happened to the previous board I was looking. All right. So I have a group. I have two. So what I'll do is that so you can go to Google, look for a pump game, let's say. Right, you can just pick one of them, which doesn't have copyright, for example. Right? So you can say copy image, and you can paste it here, right? So, and then in this case, let's say you want to add a spinner, right? So you go to the widgets, right? You can say widgets, add a spinner. Right, so you can customize the spinner. You can say I want numbers instead, so you can customize this to have numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right. Another important thing is that you have to turn on these two things. Students can spin and sync students spin on the spinner so that everybody sees the same spinner, and you put that on the side, and then you can put things that you want the kids, the game pieces, right? It can be like peppermint candy, it can be waffle, or gingerbread man. I think teachers have asked how do you put things into your own palette too, which I will show you really quickly. So if you want to put picture of the Millennium Falcon, right? You can copy this, right? You can paste this on this screen, right? And then when you can resize it to the size you want. You can resize it to the size you want on I pasted it twice, so you can just select another one and press delete. If you press delete, it goes away. And then when you right click this guy, you can say add to palette, And you can create multiple groups in your palette. So if you want to group objects together, objects which are math related, sticker related, you can group them together, right? And then you can give it a name, right? And it will show up in your My Objects here, right? So you can reuse it for different purposes later on if you wanted to, right? So in this case, what I'll do is I'll set these objects to student can clone, right? So this one also student can clone and student can clone, right? And I'll also change the default tool to be the move and resize tool. That is the easiest for young kids to use, right? And hit save, right? And then now I'm ready to create a group. So if you want to create a live group when the children are already in the class, this is the easiest way. You click this button, you say create group board, right? You can say, I want a group which will have 5 children each in
Stop
each
real
group.
fast, please. Can you start that real fast? Sorry.
Restart it. Okay, so click the avatar menu, create group board, right? And then say how many kids you want in each group, right? So I say I want, let's say 3 kids or 4 kids in each group, right? It will automatically create the groups for me and put the kids in those groups. So it will say auto 1, for example. And since I had only 4 kids, I think all of them would have ended up on the same group board, right? So now on the right hand side, I can see like there's this group 1 board. I think Sid and I should both be on the same board as well. You can see Sid's mouse there. And if Sid can spin the spinner, Sid, can you spin the spinner? You can see the spinner is spinning and I can see it as well, right? And now you can use the game pieces. You can move them around. Whatever game pieces are assigned to the kids, they can move them around on the bump board, or they can do whatever else they want to. And you as a teacher can join the group board as well. The easiest way to join it is to come to this menu again and click this eye icon. And then you can join the group board too. It was on page 2. So I go here, I can see the kids playing. And then you can actually, if you use the select tool, you can also see who's doing what. So if you click this, you can see who was the kid who placed this object here, or who drew something or wrote something on the board. You can look at that as well on the group boards. Right? So that's one way to create a group, which is when all the kids are in the class. I will show you how you can pre-create groups too. So, but before that, I'll pause for a second and see if there are questions.
Yes, Pawan. If I want to have an objective of the lesson posted on all boards, do I have to write it each time on each board?
Right. So what you can do is you can duplicate pages. So if you create your first page, like for example, this is my first page, right? I can go to the sidebar and say duplicate page. It will create a copy of the board that I'm doing and put that in the middle, right? So then you don't have to duplicate it n number of times, right? It will be available to you to use, right? There is a copy and paste that we are adding as well. So once we have the copy and paste, then you can use the copy and paste to, like for example here, if I say, I want to say, here's my text tool, not this one. Okay, this is the objective. Right, you can resize these text boxes. I don't know if you can know, you can resize this like this. And then you can select the text box, right? And you can copy it, Command C, right? And go to the next page and you can paste it. So you can keep pasting objects too. This you'll have tonight. It's not there yet. So you'll have it. So you can copy paste objects across pages.
How do you move the rectangle with the colors to the side of the slide?
The rectangle with the colors. So if you open the palette, you can close this rectangle with the colors completely, right? If you want to move it, you can just use this pan thing to move it around. Sometimes it gets stuck. So if it goes up there, it gets stuck. The easiest way is to go back here and say, oops, not here. In the gear menu, we can say reset palette position and it will come back to its original position. We will change it such that it doesn't go into corners where it can get stuck. But right now, this is a way.
Does the spinner sync function work the same way for dice as well?
So not the current set of dice. The current set of dice automatically syncs, but I think we are going to release a new set of dice really, really soon, right? And then that will have work exactly like the spinner does.
Is there a way to put the grid or line paper as my object, but I still want the math formatting feature?
No, yeah. So I think teachers have tried to cut and paste, like make smaller grids and use it, but it doesn't work that way right now. So we'll make a way for you to make smaller grids soon. So you'll have a way to put grids inside boxes.
Is there a quicker or easier way after I view students' boards to get to my own board besides when I go to my book, it takes me to the first page of my book. I want to go to the page that I'm working on currently.
So go, if you hit the single view thing. Oh, I see what you're saying. No, there is no easy way to go there. Back to the page. You can, if you use this thing on the right hand side, what you can do is you can set the page number that you want to go to, and then just click the individual student boards or the teacher board. It will directly take you to that page number of.
Where did you
link.
access that from? Where did you access?
This one is from here. So if you say open class boards, so if I want to see everybody's page number 1, I set the page number 1 here, and I can just click. First, I should turn off my.
Good, thank you.
Okay. All right, and then I think. So, Sid, any more questions?
Yeah. Can students add items to the palette as well?
Yes. So the students need an account. Without having an account, they cannot add anything. So they need to log in with Google. So if I click this thing and say sign in with Google, right? Then once I sign in, then I have the ability to add things to my palette.
Okay. Is there a way to create or insert a table?
Not right now. So teachers create tables in Word or Excel, and then they just paste them as objects into whiteboard.chat.
When you go to the student's avatar, okay, and it says make teacher, what is that talking about? What does that mean to make teacher or undo teacher?
So to make somebody a co-teacher, so if you want a co-teacher in your class who can help you with instructions, you can make another participant a teacher.
And what does it mean to showcase?
So showcase means that if some kid is doing a good job and you want to show the rest of the class what they're doing, you just hit that button and it'll update everybody's board to that kid's board.
Thank you.
All right, so I think that's it. Let me make a Sid, are there more questions?
I think you should keep moving. I'll ask some of the basic ones later.
Okay, so I think, so some of these things, so what I'll do is I'll show you how to pre-create groups so that you can create the groups before your students join. Again, I'll put I don't want to go through the bump board and all of that stuff, but I'll put a spinner so that we have something for the kids to play with. So you can open the palette. You can give them a spinner, right? You can give them maybe some 3D shapes to play with, right? Like marbles. Right? And then that's it. So now I can set these objects to say, oops, and say students can clone this and students can clone this, right? And then make sure your spinner is set to sync and sync student spins, right? And then what you do is you click the avatar menu, you say create group board, but there are no participants here, right? There's nobody here. So what you do is you create a fake ID called G1, which is the name of the group. You click the add ID. What that does is it makes it a fake participant, and you make this participant part of this group, G1, and give the same name as the participant. So just to make it easier for yourself, just use the same name, G1 here, G1 here, and G1 here, right? So that will create the first group. You can do it for multiple groups. So again, you do G2 here, right? Move this guy to the right, and call it G2, right? And then you can create another one, which is G3, right? And move that to the right, and then create G3, right? So I have 3 groups pre-created in this activity. And now when I send the invite to the children, right? So if I click the invite button, copy the invite, right now if I, let me just close this, open and incognito mode. Right, so when I invite the students to this board, because I have pre-created groups, so it'll ask them for their name, but it'll also ask them for an ID. So that's the group ID that you have to tell them, your G1 or your G2 or your G3, right? So if I, for example, enter G1, it'll take me directly into my group 1 board, right, as a student. And if I have another student, let's say on Firefox, right, I can paste that here too. Right, you can say this is student 2, and they also are on G1, right? Their ID is also G1, and they'll also end up on the group 1 board. See, both of them are on the group 1 board directly, right? And they can both spin. So if they spin, one of them spins, the other one can see it, right? And they can start playing the game as well, right? So it's easy to pre-create groups. You just specify how many groups you want, and then you have to assign students IDs out of those groups as well, right? So what I'll do is I'll post this thing on the chat window, so you can start playing with the group boards if you want to, right? While we do the rest of the things that people are asking about. So at random, pick G1, G2, G3. Hopefully not everybody ends up on the same group board.
Okay, Pawan, so should we get to some of those basic
Yes,
questions?
let's.
All right. Yeah. So, what is the best web browser for this tool?
Chrome.
Chrome. Right. Is there a way I can write on my board, but it doesn't show up on the students' boards?
Yes. So again, that's something we cover. Let me go to the next page while people play. But in that, so if I were to, for example, this is Firefox, right? So if I go to the next page here, right, you can see by default, whatever the teacher is drawing on the board shows up on the student boards or the group boards, right? But you can toggle that. So you click these 3 buttons, you say toggle replication to students, and then whatever you write doesn't show up on the student board. And it will never show up, even if you re-enable the toggle by clicking this, these objects will never show up there unless you move them a little bit. So if you move them a little, right, then they'll show up.
Okay. When you showcase the students board, how do you disable the showcasing?
So you can click the same thing. So if you're showcasing, for example, this students board here, right? Oops, I shouldn't have done that for you guys. Oh, sorry about that. You can just click this and it will stop showcasing the student board for everybody.
Can we copy and paste into a single student board?
Yes, so you can, the new copy and paste that we are adding, you can copy something and you can go to the student board and paste it.
Okay. Can you show that tool again to flip between student boards really fast without going to the grid view?
Yes, so you can open this thing, you can say open class boards, right? And then you can select whoever board you want to go to really quickly, right? Whichever page number on their board too.
Okay. Can you copy a lesson book for another teacher to use in a separate whiteboard?
Yes, you can send teachers copies. So if you select this manage book, you can click this send a copy, and whatever this link, you can copy this link into your email and send them an email. As soon as they click it, it will make a copy for them in their class. Oh, I forgot to show you some more features. Maybe I should show. Are there more advanced questions yet or no?
No more advanced questions right now. This I'm probably still collecting them, but yeah, keep going. I'll just keep a note of them.
Okay. So
Quick question. How do I get out of now? Now I'm in a group, but I don't know how to get back to you.
So well, as a student, you have two choices, right? You can go back to your personal individual board by clicking this avatar menu. And if you scroll down, you can see go to my board, right? It'll take them to their individual boards. Or as a teacher, I can disable the group board from here. If I disable the group board from here, it'll take everybody back to their group individual boards too.
Okay, I still don't understand. How do I get out of here? I'm stuck in a group and I wanna come back. How do I get out of here?
So can you hold that thought? Maybe we'll go through this activity one more time so that it's clearer.
Yeah.
All right, so one more thing I wanted to show you in the grid view. So in the grid view, what you can do is that if you go to the grid view, you can align the grid view as well, right? So you can go to this open. So if you open class boards, you can alphabetically align the grid view. If you say, click this, make grid alphabetical, it'll align the grid view completely alphabetically, right? In order of the kids' names, right? You can also enable, disable kids or sort them in an order that you would want in the grid view. So you can again open this class board. You can say, look, I don't want to see, for example, CC's board. CC's what you assign a number 0 to them, right? I want Gabriella to be the first kid I want to see, right? So you just renumber the boards in the order that you want and hit save. And then you'll see that the grid view actually changes and it'll stick to that order that you specified. So Gabriella will be the first one and CC is not there. So you can keep changing things in that order, whichever order you want to see the kids in the grid view. You can also do other things in the grid view where you have this funky board browser. So you can actually, instead of watching everybody in real time, you can turn this off. You can flip through people's pages in, or like I want to see everybody's page 1. I want to see everybody's page 2, for example, right? You can do that really easily by in the grid view, just flip through all the kids' pages as they are working on their stuff or later on even. So I think those are, so yeah, I think though maybe we covered most of the new things that we
Pawan,
have.
can you show the alphabetical order sorting again, please?
Yes. So if you click this thing, the same thing, the open class boards, right? You can go down all the way here. You can say make grid alphabetical, right? And you click that, it will make everything alphabetical, right? In terms of the grid, but you can change the order in the grid as well, right? If you want to change it such that you want to have certain students up in front and certain students not visible. So not visible is 0. So if you set somebody's number as a 0, they won't be seen on the grid at all. Right? And if you want to change that these people be the first, second, third on the first page, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You see the roll number on the top, right? You can assign them in that order. And it'll stick for the duration of the class, right? So this thing will stick for the duration of the class.
What does that mean, clear roll at the top where it says, looks like, yeah, what does that mean?
So basically somebody raised their hand. So if somebody raises their hand, you can do two things. Kid can raise their hand or they can signal I finished, right? So a notification is sent to the teacher saying, hey, somebody needs help or somebody is done. You can just click this to take you to their board directly. But if there is a lot of notifications, you can just clear them saying, yeah, I'll get to you when I get to you. You can just click that and it'll take away all the notifications. All right. I think Sid, more questions?
Yeah, a few more questions. So is there a trick to adding the manipulatives? Sometimes when I try to put it on the board, it doesn't get placed. And I think you get a few other teachers ask about manipulative.
Yeah, so I think the thing is that these are not draggable. So if you try to drag them out, it won't work. So you think of it like this. You click once to load it in your mouse, and then you place it wherever you want to, right? So you click once to load it on your mouse and then place them out to a different place. Similarly, on an iPad, you just click them once and then place them where you want to versus trying to drag them out.
Okay.
Is there any way to take the spinner and add kids' names to it so we can use that as a selector?
Yeah, the spinner is completely, so if I put it on the page 2, so it's all programmable. So you can set what you want, whichever color you want, right? So you can say Pawan is blue, Sid is green, Tom is yellow, right? So, and you can keep doing that and it will change to whatever you want.
Pawan, can you show the poll feature? There's requests come multiple times by it.
Okay, so there are two things you can do with the poll. One is a poll. I think we need to make this more fancier, but it's so what you can do is that you can send. There are two things we support. One is a poll and one is a vote. The difference being the vote, the results the kids can see too. So if I were to say send a poll, right, I can ask people. It has to be formatted in a certain way, where it says in the help, right? What color is your favorite? Blue, comma, green, comma, yellow, right? The question and the answers have to be separated by a question mark and the answers by a comma, right? And then everybody's board, you should be able to see it. You will get a notification saying what color do you like, right? And when you press that answer, the teacher gets a notification saying, hey, the kids picked this color, right? Which kid picked what color, right? You can clear, and the different, you can also do a voting where you can actually see the results too. So if you do a vote instead of a poll, then the kids will see how many, it's anonymous for the teacher as well as for the kids. And then they'll see the result as to how many people voted for what.
Question about groups, Pawan. When creating groups during a live lesson, can you assign the kids to a specific group, or are they only created randomly?
No. So, okay, so that's something we cover in our basic webinar too. But that's the most, so if you want to do the create group board again, so if I go to create group board, right, you can select the students you want in a group. So that's the default mode. You don't have to use any of these two things, the pre-created or the auto-create. You can pick, I want these 4 students to be part of this group, move them to the right, call it a certain name and hit create group. And then it'll just create a group with those 4 kids. Right?
Where'd you go to get that?
It's the same place. If you hit the avatar menu and then you go back here and say, I don't know why it's create group board. I think I have too many people. And then you pick the students that you want, right? Move that to the right and then hit group. Again, there's a video on our YouTube channel to talk about all 3 modes of creating groups. You can watch it, which tells you how do you pre-create groups, how do you auto-create groups, or the regular creation of the groups with the people in them.
Okay. And when you customize the spinner, Pawan, are the names saved in the spinner?
Yeah, right, Sid, they are saved. Right?
Yeah, so when you customize a spinner for a particular board, those names will definitely be saved in that spinner. If you add a spinner to a completely different board, if you had customized the spinner previously, you will get the new customized version too. So let's say you created your own favorite spinner and you want to create multiple boards, then you will be able to just quickly add them and you'll get your customized settings. You can revert them back to the original version as well, but so that you can you get the latest one, that customization that you did. So but yeah, across the boards, the spinner customization is saved.
All right, I think, so what I'm going to do is, as we usually do, we're going to stop recording. I want to thank you again for joining us for this webinar. Hopefully it was more advanced than our basics one. And this is the first time we are doing it, so it'll become better and better over time. But we'll stick around for 30 more minutes. If you have other questions or if we can you have suggestions, we'll be here.